Hey everybody, it took me a minute to figure out what I was doing wrong. I was on Google Chrome, which doesn't support this anymore, but I figured it out. Today we're doing chapters 21 through 23 of the Artifact Enigma. Hope everybody had a great weekend. It is Monday, in case you're wondering. Hi Diane, it's June 1st. My late mother and Marilyn Monroe would have both been 94 today. Mom was always fond of pointing out that she and Marilyn Monroe were born on the same day. Hi, Mitch. Glad to see you too. So the first 3 books of the Lyra Chronicles are now on pre-order, and they have added stories in them and new characters, and you get to find out a lot more. Yes, Mitch, you made it. So you accomplished something today. Today we're reading chapters 21 through 23 of the Artifact Enigma. This Friday, we will have Zoom Pizza Friday, and then we're going to go to 1 a month. Come and join this Friday. It will just be me, and maybe Charlie and TR will show up, who knows. We will hang out and have a good time, and yeah, happy June. I understand it is the meteorological start of summer. It's not the calendar start, but it's the meteorological start. So technically, sort of, it's summer. And I got in some gardening, planted a bunch of flowers this weekend. I got lucky. I went to Lowe's and it was empty. I mean, there's maybe 2 other people wandering around the flowers. And so everybody was wearing a mask. It was great. Got to get some flowers, put them in the front yard. All is well. So it looks pretty dark, but I swear I have lights on. Anyway, chapters 21 through 23. Hope you all are having a good day. Grace, I'm sure, is starting a watch party out there somewhere, hopefully. And so remember, Zoom lunch will go to 1 a month after this Friday. So I hope you join us this Friday. And we'll do things a little differently. We'll just have an open kind of chat. Maybe everybody can say what they're grateful for. If you need to think of something before Friday, 5 fans will win a pizza delivered to their door, and we can all hang out. So here we go, chapter 21. Like all agents, Daniel had a desk. Even though as a field agent, he didn't spend much time at it. That helped to explain why there were a bare minimum of decorations and a healthy coat of dust on some parts. He also didn't want to give anyone in the company too much reason to look into his personal life. Appearing to be nothing more than an agency-obsessed field agent would allow him to maintain his compartmentalized life. It was the way he liked it, and now also needed it. Don't know how long I can keep this up, but I'll do it for as long as I can, he thought. He tapped away at his computer as he worked on expanding some notes about his recent missions. The dark side of his life as a secret agent wasn't the violence, it was the paperwork. Magic and technology always had to take a backseat to the bureaucracy. Nothing in life can constantly be glamorous and cool. He chuckled. Something funny? He turned around. Jack Buckley stood behind him, frowning, an unusual look for the man. He obviously hadn't shaved for days. There weren't any formal appearance regulations for field agents in their division, but he wondered if someone would eventually make a point of it. Or maybe he was purposely growing a beard for a mission in a country where that would be helpful. Daniel nodded toward his computer. Thinking about paperwork is all. Nobody considers joining the CIA and then thinks, wow, I'll fill out so many reports, but here I am. Buckley's frown faded, and he let out a little snicker, but there was a weary quality to it. Yeah, true enough. My father told me about that, though, before I joined. Did you know I'm a 4th-generation agent? Daniel shook his head. I didn't. I'm actually surprised you haven't mentioned it before. Buckley frowned. Buckley shrugged. I don't like bragging about my accomplishments. Mentioning it makes it seem like I'm trying to take success from those who came before me. That's never been my style. I can respect that, Daniel said. Buckley leaned forward, resting one hand on the desk. Also, screwing with other people's never been my style. Sudden hostility flavored his tone. What the hell is this, thought Daniel. Daniel stared up at him. Do you have something to say to me? If not, I should get back to my paperwork. Buckley stood and adjusted his tie. Yeah, I want to talk to you about something. Why don't we grab lunch somewhere? Not the cafeteria. What's wrong with the cafeteria? I fucking hate the food in the cafeteria, Buckley snapped. He sucked in a breath and scrubbed a hand over his face. Just need a little variety. Is that so hard to understand? It's not like you eat here all the time. Daniel nodded slowly, keeping his expression neutral. And what is it that you want to talk about? We'll discuss that at lunch. He pushed the looming agent back with his hand and stood. I'm still deciding if I'll go to lunch with you, especially since you're acting kind of like a dick all of a sudden. Buckley snorted. What's the big deal? You too good to eat with me now? You think you're a better agent than me? Daniel narrowed his eyes and kept his tone calm. You've been acting weird. Maybe I just don't trust you. Like you didn't trust Welch? The man smirked, a triumphant gleam in his eyes that only highlighted the bags underneath. He obviously hadn't slept well in days. What happened to Ronnie had nothing to do with me. The agent frowned. Something was going on and he needed to find out what it was. Yeah, I know, Buckley shrugged. After all, you're still here, aren't you? And she's not. If he's trying to kill me, it'd be way too obvious to invite me out. But I also don't trust him. Daniel shook his head. Fine, let's go to lunch, but we're taking my car. Neither man spoke for several minutes after they got on the road. It was the very definition of tense silence. The agent glared Buckley's way. Even though they liked to joke around in the office and had worked together for years, they'd never socialized outside the headquarters. They hadn't even had any occasion to work missions together, but that was more because of their different primary specialties than anything else. He didn't consider the man an enemy, but he was far from a friend. He'd always assumed his companion felt the same way. This has something to do with Ronnie, thought Daniel. Maybe he was into her and is jealous of me or some crap like that. Guess I won't know till he tells me. What's this all about? Daniel asked finally. Buckley shrugged. Food last time I checked. Lunch isn't exactly an epic mystery. Don't feed me that shit. You obviously wanted me alone and away from headquarters. Well, you've got me. I'm alone and away from headquarters. He changed lanes and accelerated to pass an old truck. Are you a junkie now, Buckley? The other agent laughed. What? A junkie? I'm wondering if that's why you're getting increasingly erratic and you look like you haven't slept or shaved in days. If you tell your supervisor right away and get help, it won't affect your security clearance. Buckley snorted. I'm sorry I didn't spend enough time this morning shaving to meet your approval, Sergeant. Get over yourself. Daniel frowned at him. Buckley smirked. That annoys you? I thought it was once a Marine, always a Marine. I wouldn't know. I wasn't in the military. Never appealed to me. The idea of everyone wearing a little uniform, doing what they're told and all that. Seems like a recipe to make a bunch of sheep. His grin was almost feral. If you're trying to piss me off, you're doing a good job, Buckley, thought Daniel. Sheep, Daniel replied. You think the Marine Corps produces sheep? Maybe you don't get this because you've only been a field agent, but in actual war, it's important to have group discipline. Not every man can think for himself. If he does, he'll get other people killed. It's not fun or exciting, but it's effective. Buckley snorted and slapped a hand to his chest. I'll never stop thinking for myself. No wonder the company kisses your ass so much. You're the perfect little tin soldier for them. Just wind you up and point you at the enemy. Never question, never care why. Just do what you're told. Daniel took several deep breaths. He wasn't sure why the man was trying to screw with him. They'd always sparred verbally, but that was just cheap fun, a little male bonding. Nothing cruel and pointed like the barbs he was delivering now. Jealousy, thought Daniel. Was he always this jealous and I didn't know? Is he mad because he's still convinced I was sleeping with Ronnie? You think I don't question the CIA? Daniel scoffed. He changed lanes and turned hard into a parking lot at a shawarma place, no longer in the mood for food. He'd merely pulled into the first lot he'd seen, and if he needed to kick the other agent's ass, he didn't want to do it while driving. Buckley shook his head. When have you ever questioned the agency? I've never heard you say anything. Daniel laughed. What about you? You're suddenly a rebel? I'm fucking questioning it now, aren't I? Manic energy seized Buckley's face. Unlike you, you're a damn coward. What the hell? Daniel parked and killed the engine, ready to get out of the car. Looks like he's determined to fight me. He didn't want to get any blood on the leather seats. Experience had taught him that it was hard to get out. You heard me. Buckley locked eyes with him. You're a fucking coward. What the fuck are you even going on about? Do you know how many times I've risked my life in the Corps and the CIA? I'm not some desk jockey. I've worked more missions than you. The other agent pointed at him. It's easy to say you're not a coward when you're in a firefight. That's simply reacting and saving your own ass. Whatever. Get over yourself, Daniel. I've been in plenty of firefights. Real bravery isn't about risking your life. It's about risking your life for others. Again, resisted the urge to slug the man in his smug face. That's what I've done every day of my adult life, asshole. In the military and now the CIA. What do you call that but service to others? Bullshit. You think I don't know what you've done, you traitorous piece of shit? Daniel gritted his teeth. Fuck, Buckley must be with Fortis after all, he thought. A long, tense moment passed as he considered his next move. He could shoot Buckley and call Purity to help clean up. Daniel shook his head. He could do that, but there was no way he would. I'm better than these Fortis fuckers. I won't kill a fellow agent without a damn good reason, and unless I'm 100% sure, there's no other choice, thought Daniel. Daniel took several deep breaths and smiled, giving himself a moment to think. Buckley talked a good game, but he must have nothing. His strategy now seemed obvious. Fortis couldn't prove Daniel was onto them, but they suspected something, if only because he was Timothy's protege. This was nothing more than a fishing expedition. Within that context, the provocations made much more sense. Daniel scoffed. He'd almost let Buckley push him into doing something very stupid and short-sighted. You'd lose, Buckley, he thought. Now that I know, I can take control of this conversation. What the hell are you talking about, Buckley? Daniel asked. How am I a traitor? Buckley narrowed his eyes. You think I don't know? You think I didn't see what you're involved in? I have no idea what you know. I don't have any mind magic, so fuck off. I'm tempted to leave your ass here to eat some shawarma and calm the fuck down. I don't know who pissed in your cornflakes, but you need to go scream at them, not me. Buckley threw the passenger door open and stepped out. Fine. I'll make my own way back to the agency. I don't think this is over. I know what you are. I'm calling you out. You're going to have to deal with me one way or another, and I think you'll find I'm not as easy to take down as some of the other people you've thrown under the bus to save your own ass. He slammed the door and stormed off. Daniel watched him with narrowed eyes before pulling out of the parking lot. He gritted his teeth. He needed to figure out what to do, but first he needed to calm down and talk to Timothy. This wasn't only about him anymore. Damn it, I'll go back to headquarters and finish my paperwork. But there's no way in hell I can risk meeting with Tim inside the walls of the company. Hours later, in a darkened corner booth of a sports bar, Daniel set his silence cube on the corner of the table. Timothy pulled out his Ninja Turtle and placed it on the seat beside him. The absurdity of the situation made Daniel laugh out loud. Ronnie needed to choose more adult disguises for devices. The older man shrugged. Your message said it was important we meet somewhere, but nowhere important because you're worried about being followed. I've never been to this place before, so if I can never come back, no big deal. Daniel nodded. Yeah, I was worried about being followed by an agent who might work for Fortis. Timothy's frown deepened, and he ran a hand over his bald head. Damn it, they've been sniffing around you for a while, but because of the Ronnie clusterfuck, someone has gotten wind of her looking into alien crap. They're trying to connect the two of us. Who is it that you think works for Fortis? He took a deep breath. Time to cross the Rubicon. Jack Buckley. Timothy's face scrunched up in disbelief. Jack Buckley's with Fortis? You're sure? Daniel started to nod, but stopped almost immediately. No, I'm not sure. No? Huh? Daniel sighed. He's been acting erratically around me lately and saying some weird things. He's also very angry at me for some reason. Timothy shrugged. I hadn't noticed, but I don't spend a lot of time around most of the field agents anymore. And I don't talk to a supervisor much either. It's not only that, Daniel explained. He invited me to lunch out of the blue earlier. While we were driving, he got agitated to the point where I had to park. He flat out accused me of being a coward and a traitor. I see. Did he mention anything about the aliens, Ragnarok, Nephilim, or Fortis? Daniel frowned and thought back. After a moment, he shook his head. Actually, no. He didn't mention anything like that. It was more about me being a mindless sheep because of my military background, and that I was a coward and a traitor. From what he said, it has something to do with Ronnie. Timothy scratched his head. To be honest, I don't think he's made you. I think he suspects you, but this was merely a fishing expedition. That's what I thought as well, but the question is, how do I respond? I won't kill a CIA agent just because he's sniffing around me. Nor would I want you to. Timothy exhaled in a long sigh. But you need to defend yourself if it comes down to that. What are you saying exactly? Timothy stared at him with a somber expression. I think they only burned Ronnie and didn't kill her because they figured it wasn't worth the trouble. She didn't seem like the type to cause further trouble, but you're an experienced and successful field agent. If they decide you're trouble, they won't be satisfied with merely burning you. He sighed again. What will you do if Buckley shows up at your place and tries to kill you? I'll defend myself, but I won't kill him based on a suspicion. I'm not Fortis. I don't believe in that kind of ruthlessness. Daniel stared at Timothy. Have you ever killed another CIA agent? His mentor looked at him with haunted eyes. Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to, Daniel. Their conversation halted as a waitress came by with 2 plates, an order of wings and 2 beers, the best tools for blending in at a sports bar. The 2 men chewed on their wings for a few minutes and sipped their beers, eyeing each other in solemn silence until the younger man sighed. There's got to be some way I can convince him I'm not involved in any of these alien investigations. Timothy set a half-eaten wing on his plate. That's probably the best plan. If he doesn't turn up for whatever reasons, they'll only look harder. The first thing you have to do is establish what he actually knows and not only what he suspects, which might be hard without you dealing with him outside of headquarters. And if you do that, you might be walking right into a trap. Daniel nodded. I know, but what choice do we have at this point? Arrange a meeting and feel him out, but do it with full support from our team. You might be a rogue agent, but you have an entire backing you. That's chapter 21. Hi, Beth, and hi, Grace. Glad y'all are here. On to chapter 22. The next morning, Daniel sat in the Jaguar. It remained parked in the private garage, and he stared down at the burner phone in his hand. A couple of minutes had passed since he'd grabbed his cell to call Agent Buckley, but he hadn't been able to bring himself to dial. Once I do this, there is no going back. If he is Fortis and he tries to kill me, I'll have to defend myself. I'll have to kill a fellow agent. Even if I escape without any trouble, they'll know, and then I'll be useless to Tim's team. Any hope of the problem simply going away seemed remote. Buckley's behavior made it clear that if it wasn't resolved soon, the other agent might press the issue. Daniel lifted the phone to dial. Then again, if he keeps acting as erratically as he has been, then maybe the CIA will put him on leave. But Fortis had enough power to burn Ronnie, so they probably have enough authority to keep him on. The agent sighed and shook his head. Things were far more complicated when he worked against elements of his own government. Resigned to the inevitable, Daniel dialed the number. The phone rang 3 times before Buckley picked it up. Who is this and how did you get this number? You know who this is, Daniel said. I think we need to talk. After that crap the other day, it's obvious we have some things to work through. Buckley chuckled. You could say that. We can't really talk at work about our personal problems, though, can we? Yeah, I guess you could say that'd be inappropriate. I'm willing to meet you to talk. Well, I bet you'd love to pick the place. His voice dripped with obvious paranoia. Daniel snorted. As opposed to letting you pick? Screw it. How about the place I left you the other day? That was random, and the only 2 people who know about it are us. There was a good chance the line was monitored, but this plan assured him that if Buckley wasn't Fortis, at least they'd have no idea where he would be ahead of time. Buckley laughed. Okay, fine, we'll start there, but that doesn't mean we'll stay there. Tonight, 7 p.m. If you're not there when I get there, I'm taking off. If you come with anyone else, I'm leaving. Fine, fair enough. Daniel crossed his arms and leaned against the door, watching Ronnie pull open an action figure filled with electronics. Other parts and tiny crystals covered the table in the small room. He shook his head. I don't get why you're basically working in a closet, given that there's an actual workshop in this facility. She furrowed her brow as she ran her finger along the wiring, her bangs falling briefly into her eyes. The workshop has a weird vibe. It kills my creativity. It's too industrial. What are you saying? Your tinker muse doesn't move you there? Her eyes widened, then she smiled and nodded. Exactly. She looked at the action figure again. Daniel shrugged. Well, I need to make sure I can still communicate with you if Buckley jams me. Is that something you can do? Ronnie pointed at a My Little Pony figurine on the edge of her desk without looking up from what she was doing. We can interface with that. I took the last one I was using apart. It won't last long if he does jam you, though. It's one thing to make a device that bypasses the company, but it's much harder to create something that can beat broad spectrum jamming. Daniel nodded. I've been meaning to ask you, why are they all toys? She shrugged. Because they're supposed to be disguised. Yeah, but until recently you worked for the CIA. That's not a place with a lot of toys. Ronnie sighed. They're also cuter this way. Daniel chuckled. Fair enough. Let's do what we need to get this thing interfaced. The agent pulled into the parking lot. Buckley's red CIA-issue Mustang idled on the opposite side. Can you still hear me, Ronnie? Daniel asked. Yep. Not like crystal clear, but you're coming through. I don't think he's jamming. My drone feed is fine. Thanks. He drove the Jaguar across the lot and parked beside the Mustang. In silence, he rolled the window down and waited. Buckley stared straight ahead, his hands on the wheel and a frown on his face. Daniel was about to honk when the other man turned slowly. He didn't look frantic or angry, only exhausted. He rolled his window down. You came. The other agent sounded surprised. Daniel nodded. I'm here. Want to go inside? Not like we can talk in the parking lot. Buckley snorted. There's no way in hell I'm having a conversation here. Now that you're here, you can follow me to where we're really going to talk. And if I say no? Buckley shrugged. Then I'll know you're the cowardly, traitorous shit I thought you were. Oh, good. I was hoping there'd be foreplay. You want me to follow you? The agent reiterated so Ronnie could overhear. Yeah. Buckley rolled his window up and pulled out of his spot. He didn't race out of the parking lot, but he didn't linger either. Daniel reversed and accelerated to follow the other car. Once on the road, he rolled up his window. Keep a drone on us, Ronnie. I have no idea where you might be taking me. This is making me nervous, said Ronnie. Maybe you should tell him it's off. Daniel laughed. This is the fun part. You just be my eye in the sky and I'll be fine. The stupid move isn't necessarily walking into the trap. It's walking into the trap unprepared. Besides, Buckley may be good, but I'm a far better agent than he is. There's no way he'll get the drop on me. She sighed. I'm less worried about him than, say, a truck filled with other armed guys. That's why I brought all these wonderful toys with me. Besides, I've been in far worse situations, except then I was in some foreign backwater with far less backup. Daniel changed lanes to match the movements of the Mustang. But what will you do if he does turn out to be bad? Ronnie's voice dropped to a near whisper. Daniel's grip tightened around the wheel. What I need to do is protect our group and the mission. I didn't agree to come to assassinate Buckley. I'm hoping if we can sit down and talk frankly that I might be able to convince him I'm not involved in any of this. And we're still not sure if this whole thing isn't a giant fishing expedition. Ronnie hissed. Darn it, what's wrong? Nothing, just not a lot of drone traffic over there, and I'm worried about him spotting it. Daniel shook his head. You and Big Gnome need to work on some sort of chameleon field for the drones. She laughed. That's way harder than it sounds. It only works so well in because they don't move very fast. Just saying. Buckley made several aggressive lane changes. Daniel kept up, but it was almost as if the other man was trying to lose him, or at least lose any tails we might have. A paranoid CIA agent is a scary thing indeed. Daniel checked his mirrors and cameras for any suspicious vehicles, but didn't see anything noteworthy. Of course, if Buckley were leading him into a trap, the suspicious vehicles would be near the location and not following him on the highway. Worried about my backup, Buckley? You should be, thought Daniel. He shook his head again and chuckled. What's so funny? Ronnie asked. It's hard to fight people who know all your procedures and moves. That Mustang is almost as tricked out as my car. He's probably got some drones following me as well. But does he have a team like Big Gnome and me backing him up? Daniel snorted. That's the problem with everyone being so afraid of magicals. We're not using all the tools we can for our job, and that puts us at a disadvantage. We should exploit that angle as much as we can. It might be one of the few advantages we have against Fortis. He smiled to himself as he pulled closer to the Mustang. His heart didn't thump harder and his stomach didn't even knot, though he might be heading directly into an enemy ambush. A mission's a mission, no matter if the other is CIA or random artifact thieves. I'm damn good at what I do and I won't lose, not today. The surprisingly long drive took them to Wharf Marina. Buckley parked up the street and hopped out, not waiting for Daniel. In a hurry to get me to snipers? The foot traffic was light and the shadows deep, despite the many lights both in the boats and along the wharf. Daniel, can you hear me? Ronnie asked over the receiver. The line was choked with static. Yeah, but barely. He threw the door open and stepped out. Problem? Jamming. I can't get the drone much closer without losing transmission signal, and this booster only works with your transmitter. The agent jogged after Buckley. It's okay. That means it's about to go down. But if he's jamming, he's lost any remote support he has. So we're on a level playing field. Unless they have an evil version of me. Excuse me. Daniel snorted. True enough. Static filled the line. He sighed and shook his head. The fact they'd been able to communicate at all under heavy jamming was impressive, but now he was on his own. It took a minute to catch up with Buckley, who walked directly toward a pier. The other agent glanced over his shoulder with a slight smirk on his face. For a brief moment, the facial expression reminded Daniel of the old Jack Buckley, not the wild-eyed asshole who had become increasingly unhinged and disheveled in recent days. Where are they? Waiting in a building on a boat? Daniel closed on him. It was almost like you were trying to lose me. Buckley shrugged. The great Daniel Winters should be able to keep up with me. It's not like I was cutting cars off or anything. He kept walking. Plus, the more we move, the less your friends can help you. What are you talking about? You think I'm an idiot? His companion snorted. I know there's been a drone following us. There's always drones in the sky around here. Doesn't matter. I've done what was needed. I'm sure you figured out by now that I'm jamming. Daniel nodded. Yeah, that's probably making a lot of other people have a bad day. The man shrugged and stepped onto a pier lined with small boats on either side. They'll live. A small price to pay for someone who's defending them all the time from threats they couldn't even begin to imagine. That's how you see yourself? Buckley glared over his shoulder. And you don't? Give me a fucking break. That's why I joined. I wanted to be the warrior in the shadows, the man fighting all the terrorists and magicals who are plotting against our country. Like I told you, 4th generation. I grew up with my dad and grandpa, and while they were never able to tell me the truth about the kinds of things they did, they made it clear that the strong have a duty to protect the weak. We need to be ready to become the wolves, able to kill anything that would attack our flock. He shook his head. And that's what I dedicated my life to. Buckley stopped in front of a cabin cruiser. Bright blue paint on the side proclaimed it the Big Bad Wolf. Without even needing to examine it further, Daniel knew the boat wasn't company issued. Fortis doesn't want to be too obvious when they try to kill me. The other agent walked over to the docked boat and climbed aboard. This is my boat. It used to be my dad's. Not as fancy or as nice as newer ones, but tradition means something. Come on, we'll talk on the water. Why there? Because it'll be more private. If you don't want to come, fine. Daniel frowned. Something didn't feel right. Killing him on the water at night would enable Buckley to dispose of the body easier, but it would also mean he wouldn't have any backup in case something went wrong. Already joined the super secret club, too late now, thought Daniel. With a shrug, he climbed aboard. His companion untied the cabin cruiser before sitting at the wheel and starting the boat. Daniel sat down beside him. Buckley continued backing the boat into the Washington Channel. I'm sure you've got a silence cube on you. Go ahead and use it. I'm already jamming shit, but that'll help with the other crap. Daniel pulled his silence cube out, activated it, and set it between them. While the cube had stopped most of the noise, a low rumble from the engine still reached him. The quiet, combined with the dark water stretching out around them, was eerie. The other man shook his head as he steered the vessel out of its slip. Got a very simple question for you. What's that? What's the most important part of our job? Daniel shrugged. That's easy. Protecting the people of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Buckley let out a dark laugh. Domestic, huh? That's the rub, though, isn't it? Figuring out who is a domestic enemy of the United States. Some people say random protesters are enemies. People from whatever political party you don't like. Wrong religion, wrong face. Shit, wrong species now. An image of Tommy flashed in the agent's mind. The boy was an American citizen, born and raised, but like the Humanity Defense League would say he had no place here, not only in the country, but even on the planet. Nothing was simple anymore. Many species from Orosarian lived a long time. There were elves older than the country. It was hard for someone who had such a long view of things that they might not even think it mattered whether his country continued to exist. Daniel shrugged. Nothing worth doing is ever easy. I don't have any fast answers, and we both know the CIA has done a lot of shady shit in its history. I've tried not to, but I've pushed that line more than a few times. When Daniel thought about it, he realized joining Timothy's group didn't even bother him. Whatever conscious pricking actions he'd taken throughout his career, his heart didn't feel that was one. Buckley offered a shallow nod. Yeah, same here. Can't say that I've killed anyone I didn't think was a bad person. But now I sometimes wonder, how did I know? Daniel frowned. What do you mean? The boat approached the Potomac River. We do missions because the company assigns them to us, the man replied. We rely on company equipment, assets, information, and backup. Sure, we all have our information and contacts, but that doesn't change the fact that the CIA is filtering everything. It's an intelligence agency. That's kind of the point. Buckley shot him a wild-eyed grin. Secrets within secrets. It sounds cool, but it's not. I remember this orientation presentation they made us watch when I joined. The whole point was to, and I quote, disabuse you newly recruited personnel of the CIA's involvement in outlandish conspiracies. He barked out a laugh. Can you believe the balls on them to say something like that? We're the damn CIA. We're pretty much the definition of conspiracies. A bunch of shadowy men and women doing their own thing without most people knowing it. It's like people think that simply because of Aura Sarin, no one should remember how dangerous regular humans can be. Daniel nodded slowly. He let his hands rest in his lap. He wanted to be able to get to his gun quickly if necessary. So, I doubt you joined as a fourth-generation agent without knowing that you'd be a warrior in the shadows. I don't mind doing what I do in the dark. What I do mind is when the people who are supposed to give me the orders lie to me. The agent furrowed his brow. This was not how Daniel expected the conversation to unfold. You mean the company? Yeah, the fucking company. They let us believe that the only extraterrestrial threat was Aura Sarin. It's one thing to lie to the rest of the world, but not us, not agents. We need to know the truth. Here it comes. Daniel narrowed his eyes. What are you getting at, Buckley? Buckley scoffed and stared at him. Look me in the fucking eyes and tell me you don't know about Ragnarok and Nephilim, that you don't know about Fortis. Daniel could lie. He trained for most of his career to lie. But he was dealing with a fellow agent, a man who knew all his tricks. How does he want to play this, thought Daniel. If I admit to knowing, it might be game over. He might try to kill me, or maybe someone's waiting at another dock to shoot me as soon as he gives them the all clear. There's another opportunity here. As long as I don't let him know about Tim or the others, I can infiltrate them. Maybe claim I stumbled onto everything myself. It wasn't a great plan, but it was the best he could come up with at the moment. Yeah, I know, he uttered finally. Buckley let out a triumphant yell and looked forward again. Daniel was grateful for the light traffic on the river, especially given that it was nighttime. I fucking knew it, the other man shouted. There's no way a guy like you couldn't figure it out. We can interrogate him if this doesn't work out, thought Daniel. Daniel drew a deep breath and let it out slowly. He moved his hands away from his lap and slipped one into his pocket. There was a stun pin inside, and Nessie assured him it worked this time. And what about you, Buckley? How'd you figure it out? The other agent shrugged his shoulder. Excuse me. Saw something weird a while back. Didn't think much of it, but saw something in a report that reminded me of it. And when I went to check on that report later, it was gone, like it never existed. It was a thread on our shirt, you know? I had to keep pulling and pulling and pulling, just like Ronnie did. Is that why you and your Fortis buddies burned her? Is that why you killed her? If Buckley had said anything else, Daniel would have been ready. But the last sentence struck him like a lightning bolt, stunning him. He stared at his companion, blinking. By the time the other agent had pulled out his gun, it was too late for him to yank the stun pin out, or his own weapon. Move your fucking hands out of your pockets and put them in front of you, Buckley ordered. He still looked mostly straight ahead, but Daniel had no doubt that the trained agent's peripheral vision would be good enough to spot him going for a gun. With a sigh, he complied. Buckley's laugh seemed a little hysterical. I caught a brief glimpse of it on her screen when I walked by. Symbols I'd seen before. Alien symbols, and not from Aura Sarin. She got burned, and then two assholes tried to take her out. I was watching her, and I almost had to gun those fuckers down. That little techie's tougher than she looks. He shook his head. I didn't know who'd set her up. It was a trap. Cheese for the mouse. But when I saw you pick her up, I checked her apartment and set cameras up to keep an eye on her and provide protection. She suddenly stopped coming home. He shook the gun. Then it all clicked. Almost no one paid attention to Ronnie, but you did. Why was that? Because you knew she was sniffing around all your carefully concealed shit? Your fucking Fortis cover-up, so she had to die? Daniel gritted his teeth. He almost wanted to laugh. This entire time he'd had the situation backward. You don't understand. I don't fucking need to understand, you bastard, Buckley yelled. You think I haven't looked into this shit? You think I don't know how Ronnie's not the first? How you murdered other Americans to cover up your alien shit? I'm sure my great-grandpa, grandpa, and dad did shady shit in their time to defend this country. but they never, ever would have murdered innocent Americans simply because they stumbled upon the truth. You make me sick. You're a traitor to this country and to its people. You wipe your ass with the Constitution. You really, really don't understand. Buckley pulled back on the throttle as they approached another dock. Okay, I'll understand a lot soon enough. You see, you'll disappear soon too, and we'll spend a lot of time together while you tell me everything you know about Fortis. On to chapter 23. And hi, Jesse, if you're still here, my old friend in New York. It's nice to see your face. Grace found us in Bep, and is probably already gone. But we'll keep going. We're on to chapter 23. And if you miss a chapter, they're all on my YouTube channel. And like I said, the pizza Friday is going to be this Friday. It's going to be just me and controlled chaos. 5 fans can win a chance to get a pizza delivered to their door, or will win. You can enter to get a chance, and 5 will win. And then we're going to go to Zoom lunches once a month after that. So on to chapter 23. Daniel couldn't help himself. He burst out laughing. Buckley furrowed his brow. What the hell is so funny? You don't get it. I keep trying to tell you. Ronnie's not dead. Bullshit. And where is she? Buckley zeroed the throttle, and the already slow boat drifted to a near stop, the light waves making a bob up and down. Kill your jammer, and I'll prove to you that she's still alive. He reached very slowly inside his jacket to pull out his phone, the other agent watching him with his gun ready. Buckley shook his head. She's dead. Your 2 thugs couldn't take her out, so they sent a friendly face together. She's not dead. We're hiding her from Fortis for a while. We weren't sure if they would come after her. We? Buckley asked. Who's we? People with your same problem. We want to make sure the country's safe from aliens, but we don't trust Fortis. He lifted his phone. I can make a call and clear it up. I was actually communicating with Ronnie before you activated the jammer. Buckley shrugged. Whatever. If I go down, you go down. He reached into his pocket with his free hand. Something clicked inside. Ronnie, can you hear me? Daniel asked. Yeah, all the interference is gone. Okay, I don't have time to explain. Call me. I need to prove to Buckley that you're alive. He's not with Fortis. What? Just do it, he snapped. Okay, Ronnie sighed. A few seconds later, the phone rang. He held it in his palm and offered it to Buckley. The other agent snapped it up and swiped to answer, keeping his gun trained at his companion. Is this Ronnie? Yeah, this is me, she replied. Daniel could hear her through his ear receiver. Fortis didn't kill you? He seemed relieved and confused at the same time. Ronnie sighed. I think they were going to try, but I got away and then Daniel recruited me. I don't think I can say much more than that until he gives me the okay. Buckley chuckled, relief spreading over his face. Good to hear you're alive, Welch. I know I didn't talk to you a lot and we didn't work a lot of missions together, but you're okay. Okay, thanks, Jack. He tossed the phone back. Daniel ended the call. You thought I was coming for you? The man stared down at the wall and took shallow breaths. I don't know. This shit's messing with my head. At first I thought it wasn't a big deal, simply more CIA secrets. After Welch disappeared, I started wondering when it'd be my turn. Buckley shook his head. But I'm not alone. You've got a team, a task force or something? Let me in. You know I'm a good field agent, and you need it, especially considering who we're up against. If you really know anything about Fortis, then you know how ruthless those bastards are. Daniel sighed and nodded. Look, I need to talk with the others. I'm not the one running the show, but I think we have a place for you. That is, assuming you're not still planning to kill me and dump my body in the Potomac. I planned to interrogate you first, but yeah, Buckley grinned. A little color had returned to his pale face. I proved who the top agent was in the end. Huh? What are you talking about? Buckley smirked. I got the drop on you, didn't I? Daniel shook his head. Only because you surprised me by accusing me of killing Ronnie. Otherwise, I was going to stun you with a pin. Buckley waved a hand dismissively. Yeah, second place always has an excuse. Whatever. Let's get back to shore. You talk to who you need to talk to, then get back to me. I actually thought you were Fortis and coming for me, but since you're not, that probably means they have no clue that I'm onto them. We've got plenty of time now to work this crap out. The agent stared into the distance at some of the other boats on the river. Another field agent could be very useful to the team. Sure, he was obnoxious at times, but Jack Buckley could get things done. Not only that, he'd independently stumbled onto the conspiracy. He'll be a good asset, a damn good one. Let me get you a burner phone. You can use that for setting up our next meet about this shared interest. We can talk about saving the world. Buckley chuckled and nodded. Sitting behind his office desk at the brownstone, Timothy squeezed his stress ball. Buckley isn't one I would have ever pegged to have stumbled onto this mess by himself. Daniel shrugged. From what he told me, it was a similar situation to what happened to me. He saw some strange stuff during a mission and later connected it with other loose ends that led him to aliens. We do need more field agents. Right now, you're the operational head of barely any actual agents. He's well trained and brave, but I do worry about how he tried to take you on. We have to tread carefully when dealing with Fortis if we don't want this whole house of cards to come tumbling down. Daniel nodded. Maybe we could keep him at arm's length until he proves himself, but now that he knows he's not the only one, I don't think he'll act as desperately. Maybe. Timothy set his stress ball on the desk. But you're right. We can give him a chance to prove himself, but for now, I don't want him aware of anyone other than you or Ronnie. Sounds like a good plan. I'll fill him in and keep the rest in the shadows. Daniel whistled as he drove an Audi toward the shawarma restaurant. He'd contacted Buckley via the burner the night before, and they'd agreed to meet at the same place for lunch. Now that they both knew neither worked for Fortis, it seemed as good a place as any. Timothy had suggested he avoid taking the Jaguar in case someone was watching Buckley who was familiar with Daniel's usual car. A simple color change wouldn't be enough in that case. He grinned. He was more excited about having another field agent than he realized. Daisy was a hell of a recruit, but if they intended to take the aliens on and oppose Fortis, they needed a decent-sized team. There were simply too many artifacts. Maybe in a few years there would be a new extraterrestrial research agency. For now, he needed to ease Buckley into operations and make sure the man could handle the stress of being a rogue inside the company. A short while later, he turned into the parking lot outside the restaurant. Buckley's Mustang was already parked in front. Daniel stepped out of the Audi and adjusted his tie, a smile on his face. He fingered the silence cube in his pocket, enjoying the idea of hiding in plain sight. He laughed under his breath and stepped into the restaurant. Chatting customers packed the place. Food must be halfway decent. A sign told him to seat himself. Agent Buckley sat in a corner booth, his back to the wall, giving him a good view of the exits. An athletic redhead in oversized sunglasses, a tight dress, and a hat sat at a table next to him. She smiled at the man as she finished her pita wrap. Her smile was confident as she grabbed her purse, stood, and walked past him. Her high heels proved to be too much trouble, and she tripped and fell into him, the smile turning into a look of surprise. Guess it's Buckley's lucky day. A beautiful woman is literally falling on him. The woman laughed and said something to him, but Daniel couldn't hear it over the din. The man's eyes widened, and the woman gave him a little wave before making her way out. Daniel's stomach tightened. He forced his way through the crowd. Buckley stood, swaying and clutching his stomach. He fell to his knees, foaming at the mouth. A woman at a nearby table screamed, and the crowd parted. "Someone call an ambulance," a man yelled. Daniel shoved his way through the panicked crowd as Buckley fell onto his back, convulsing and coughing up blood. He knelt beside him and cradled his head. Buckley continued to convulse and cough, drool and blood now running freely out of his mouth. She said, I should have left well enough alone. He coughed some more. All I ever wanted to do was protect this country. His eyes rolled toward the back of his head, and his head lolled to the side. Daniel stared down at him. Buckley had stopped breathing. He doubted he could be saved, but there was one thing they could still give him: justice. He hissed and hopped to his feet. "He needs CPR." A tall woman rushed out of the crowd. "I'm a nurse." She dropped to her knees and began doing chest compressions. The agent threw open the door and ran into the parking lot, his head on a swivel as he searched for the assassin. A Fiat pulled out of the driveway. He stared at the license plate number, memorizing it. As he hurried toward the Audi, he grabbed his second phone and dialed Ronnie. Come on, talk to me." She answered after the third ring. "What's up?" "I need to know." The Fiat shimmered and changed color. When it drove past, he looked at the license plate again. It had already changed, but he couldn't make it out. Damn it. Resident nano paint? And they had the balls to use it in public. He clenched his jaw. An assassin who could kill a man in public and a vehicle with resonant nanopaint. That cinched it. Someone from the CIA had just murdered Agent Buckley, one of their own. Daniel paced Timothy's office at the brownstone. They murdered him in fucking broad daylight and in public. I thought these people were all about being secret, but now they've gone and done it. Idiots. Guess it'll make it easier to deal with them. The older man sighed. He picked up his stress ball and squeezed it several times. Nope, I just got off the phone. Even though it's been only a few hours, the official coroner's report is amazingly almost finished. What? Daniel stopped pacing and turned to face Timothy. According to the report, poor unfortunate Jack Buckley overdosed on a new dangerous synthetic that was mixed with dust. He took a deep breath. The company isn't treating it as anything more than that. They are initiating a formal review of his cases. As far as the official word goes, Agent Jack Buckley had become a junkie. Daniel snorted. What bullshit? So that's it? They get to kill him and get away with it? Timothy nodded. Yeah, we can't investigate this or make any noise. If we do, they'll come sniffing our way, and we're not ready to take them head on just yet. I'm not afraid of them. It's not about being afraid. It's about accepting short-term sacrifices in a long-term battle. The younger agent slammed his fist on the desk. His family had served this country for 4 generations, and now they'll be told that he was some loose cannon junkie who died because he couldn't control an addiction? Timothy locked eyes with his protege. He's not the first person who died because of this alien shit, and he won't be the last. The only thing we can do is move forward and make sure he didn't die in vain. Do you understand, Daniel? He dragged in several deep breaths. I understand. Good. The company has a mission for you anyway. It'll be good to get you away from headquarters for a couple of days in case Fortis comes sniffing around. You can use the mission to get Buckley off your mind. Daniel snorted and shook his head. He headed toward the door, then looked over his shoulder. I'll concentrate on my mission, but don't think I'll simply forget this. He was a good agent and a patriot. Timothy nodded, his expression solemn. I know. And that is it for today. I hope you're enjoying the story and that it's exciting for you. Tomorrow we will do 24, 25, and 26. We're almost done with this. And this Friday we will do Pizza Friday. Come join us, bring your lunch. And if you want to enter this week, you can win a pizza. 5 fans will win a pizza. Then we're going to go to Zoom lunches once a month. We're still going to do them. We're just going to do them once a month. Also, if you didn't notice on Facebook, I signed up. We had talked about doing a 5K together, and then the pandemic struck. I signed myself up for the Wonder Woman 5K, virtual 5K. Amazon is doing a 5K or 10K, but I signed up for the 5K. It's Wonder Woman, yes, that Wonder Woman. And last I heard, I think Amazon bought DC Comics, so that explains that. And you can sign up too, and we can run it together apart and then do a Zoom brunch together. So if you're up for walking 3.15 miles or 5 kilometers if you're in Europe, join me and we can do it together. The Wonder Woman 5K by Amazon. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great day. I hope you're still staying safe through all of this. And I love you all, and I will talk to you tomorrow.